See some more clients hopping in here. Keith, how's it going, my man?
Good.
Alex,
How about yourself?
doing good. We're excited, alive, full of energy. It's always fun to try something new that really no one has ever done before. So it'll be good.
Good, good, good. I haven't been on for the last week or so. I've just had so many great things happen. I'll tell you another time. I don't want to bog everyone down. All I can say, your stuff is just phenomenal.
Thank you.
Absolutely phenomenal. I've 7 listings in 2 weeks. 7
Well,
in
there
two
it
weeks.
is. You
That's
put the work
awesome.
in.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to get started. So welcome to our first episode of Real Time Coaching Lab. Real agents, real challenges, real solutions in real time. You know, one of the things that I've always wondered, and I'm sure many people wonder that are new to coaching, is what is coaching? How does the coach work? What is their style? And we figured that we would just bring people in and actually simulate real life situations. You know, in being an agent myself, we know that business happens in the field and you can't plan for everything. So Jess is a dear friend, somebody I actually brought to Compass, and someone that I've watched grow over the last 6 years tremendously, both as a person and professionally. So she runs, her team spans from Westchester County, where she started, to Fairfield County in Connecticut. They have agents all over. So she's a top producing agent. More importantly, one of the best humans that you'll ever meet. I would say that she has a non-for-profit heart, and she's going to share with you a little bit about herself quickly, and then we're just going to hop into like what's going on in her business and how can we solve this in the next 27 minutes. Jess?
Oh gosh, you didn't tell me I had to tell a little bit about myself, but hi everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Chirag, anytime he asks me to do something, I always just automatically say yes and find out what it is after, because it's usually something that's going to be powerful and help me and my business and hopefully help somebody else. So thank you for asking me to join today. I've been with Compass almost 6 years now. And yes, Chirag did bring me over. I was stalking his Instagram when I was at my previous brokerage, and I just loved his energy and his vibe, and it felt very wholesome. And the brokerage I was at was not any of those feelings. And I just really wanted to be at Compass, and everything I envisioned it to be is everything it was. So I'm so excited that I am at Compass. Thank you.
So let's jump into where could you use the most support in your business?
Yeah, so we were talking about what I need to be working on or what I need to be doing better in my business. And I was thinking about what is the biggest problem I have and what I try to help give my team. And the biggest problem I have is I don't really understand how people are so organized with their contacts, and they get them in their back end on Compass, and they follow everything up, and they have all these action plans. 50% of my day I'm in the car. So it's really hard for me to imagine putting people into my systems and then having follow-up plans with them and then tagging them. So I fail horribly at that. And it's something that I want to do. And I always tell the people that are on my team, start it from the beginning, because it's so much harder to go back now. And once you have thousands of contacts, to fix it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that with you today.
So let's start from 0 to 1, right? So tagging is something that people get overly complicated, right? So you have Brian, who's a great resource, correct? Brian's
Yes.
our operations director. So here's the thing. What you want to do is self-identify first based on the client type, what kind of tags you use, right? So if you think about tags, think of it as like a closet, right? Like you could have shirts in an area, but you can have t-shirts, polo shirts, long sleeve shirts, right? So tags are just a way of filtering things to find information. So what different types of clients you work with? Because there's only so many different ones.
Yeah, so I get the buyer, sellers, referrals. I have like a notepad in my phone that I just basically every time I get a referral, because thankfully a lot of my business comes from Compass referrals. I have a notepad in my phone that I share with Brian, who's my director of operations, that I just list everything and I keep my notes on there, because to me it's much quicker than trying to get to my contacts on Compass and trying to upload everything I need to have correctly, which I know is not the right way to do it. So I'm kind
Actually,
of
no, it's actually, so hold on, I'll pause you here, right? So the first thing of scaling yourself, right, is understanding delegation, which I think you're doing extremely well, right? So you want to ask yourself this question: is this something that I have to do, that only I can do, that's based on my unique ability? What's the answer to that question?
I cannot do it.
No, but you should not be doing it, right? If you could talk to a client or build a relationship and earn money, then all of these other tasks you can delegate, right? So the next one is clarity, right? Like, what information are you sharing and what is he supposed to do with the information? Right? So if this is all happening in real time and there's no system, if you think about it, there's three things, right? There's a purpose of doing something, an outcome you want to get out of doing it in the next step, right? So look at your notes, right? There's going to be a purpose of putting someone out there. The outcome is what Brian does with the information. And then the next step is what you two identify.
So first step is figuring out, if I put those things in my notes, maybe it's something that I could give Brian to do as a job, to putting those into our database, since he's working on a computer versus me being in a car.
Yes. And you can have one shared note, whether it's so you guys all work out of Gmail?
Yes.
So download Google Keep, right? So that's Google's version of Notes. So you can actually download it as an extension and it'll show up inside of his email, right? So whenever you go and Keep, no, they don't have notifications. However, whenever he wants to do it, it's built in his calendar to check once a day to update your contacts. He can just click the note. You don't have to explain anything to him once you define the system.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. And we're such spreadsheet agents that we have to eventually move our way into what Compass offers, which is this amazing technology. And we do so much stuff on spreadsheets. Even like anniversaries, and the really best way that we keep our clients long-term and we have such good follow-up is that we give a lot of gifting. So I'm sure that this would be amazing if we were able to get everything into our Compass platform and then have it alert us when it's time for their home anniversary gifts or their birthdays or, whatever.
All right, so let's get into, so you're on level 3, I'm on level 1, right? So let's go to level 2 for you, right? First thing is define a system, right? Purpose, outcome, next step. If two people are aligned on that, you both are playing from the same set of rules, and essentially you know what you're doing, why you're doing it, what has to happen, right? So if you write a bunch of stuff and you're like, put this in my CRM, like, it's undefined, like you don't know what that's going to look like. So then you think about the 3 types of people in your CRM. There's sellers, there's buyers, and there's agents. Is there any other category of client?
Vendors.
4 vendors.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay.
For me, at least.
Okay. So ready, buyers, sellers, agents, vendors.
What
Right?
about sphere of influence?
Hold on. We'll have to
Yeah,
wait.
I was gonna say if we could get deep into sphere of
Well,
influence.
we got to go. But we're building a foundation up, right?
Okay.
So if you go into, if somebody has not ever bought from you, right? A vendor could be a sphere of influence, like somebody who considered buying from you, right? So like the first choice that everyone makes is, how am I going to organize this, right? So the only reason, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you short, but if we start going through questions, we'll never get through to the end. So if you think about it, if you want to have your own tag for sphere of influence, right? Your own category, right? So we're limited in Compass to whatever the groups there are there, right? But then tags is where we really customize it, right? So when you think of tags, just think of them as filters, right? So like if you went on compass.com, you could filter a property by price, bedrooms, bathrooms, and different criteria, right? So the sole purpose, Jess, of all this data and information is so you can make future decisions from your business from.
Yeah. And that's what I'm learning, that I'm so flawed. Even when you said today, like, send this to everybody in your CRM or whatever, that's your colleagues. Couldn't just naturally do that really quickly, which is something I want to do, which is why I know it's so important, because when we were talking about this call, I could have easily sent an email out to Compass agents, but I don't have them specified.
Yep. All right. So since agents make up a good chunk of your business, let's talk about tagging them, right? So when you think of an agent, what key attributes can you give to an agent that are important to you?
What key attributes can I give to an agent that are important to me?
Imagine this. Imagine I had a bucket full of 100 agents, right? And you know hundreds, right? And now all of a sudden you needed to find an agent. What criteria would you be searching them based off?
Location.
Okay, perfect. So tag number 1 is location. Keep going.
Price point,
So
right?
here's
I'm trying to think what else would be most important to me is probably the most important is really where they are, their locations.
so
I don't really.
you're going to want to know their location, right? Based on the referral type, because you send a lot of outbound referrals, you might want to identify people as team leader, team member, or solo agent, right? Because
Yep.
different people vibe with different things, right? What else could you want to know about somebody?
If we've ever done a referral together, maybe.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay, so ready? You need to understand. So there's this concept most businesses do, like the lifetime value of a customer. That's why people market to you all relentlessly, because the lifetime value of a real estate agent and all the people you're connected to is extremely high, right? So you could do like a simple tag like R1, R2, R3, R4, R5. So now what happens is, and you can do, there's a different system you can do actually with your clients, but at the end of a year, or when it comes times to gifts, times to go on retreats, people you want to stay more in touch with, it's very hard to figure it out when you have a bucket full of 100 people and everything's in your brain.
Mm.
Right? But now if you clicked if you like searched in your CRM and you clicked agents, you clicked R1, great. Here's what everyone had sent me one referral, like, what is my plan for these people, right? R2, R3, R4, R5. And you'll get to a place where you're like, all right, once I've done this many referrals with somebody, like it's clearly a feeder market. We clearly have a good relationship. Let me organize more time, more gifts, more stuff with those people. But this is how your business can get really targeted.
Yeah, I guess there's like my people too in the industry, like a lot of agents. I know a lot of agents and I love a lot of agents at this company, but there's also just people that are just like my family in this business. Like there's agents that I'm super close with. So I might want to specify if I am throwing like a little event or happy hour or whatever, who those people are.
Good. So for that tag, right, you'll get notes for all this. So don't feel like I know what you're thinking. Like, should I write this down? I see your inkling. I would make a tag that says Compass Family, right? And you put all of those people in there,
Yeah.
right? So you could then filter like, all right, who's in my Compass family that sent me 3 referrals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can just start figuring this out. But like then at the end of this, you'll know that Brian, that you'll have like an actual set of actionable, implementable steps that says, all right, here's the agent. We need to do the location. Is this in your Compass family? Have they ever sent us a referral? Because all of this stuff is in your spreadsheets. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about my business and what I don't take for granted ever is how special these referrals are. So you never want to drop the ball on them. It's somebody else's, income, somebody else's family, somebody's trust. So being very organized and very careful with these referrals is really important to me.
Exactly. So, it's important for you to think through the best way to stay in touch with these people, right? Because no one has a plan of action. And then once you have a plan of action, it all translates into blocks for your calendar, right? So, when last week I went and spoke at a conference of 200 NFL athletes, right? And one of the things I was talking about is like the time jar method, right? Like big rocks, pebbles, sand, right? If these relationships are a driving force of your business, you need to account for them in your time first. It's a big rock, right? But if you don't know who are these people, right? Or how you want to interact with them, it gets challenging, right? So you ever go to Dave and Buster's, Jess?
Yeah.
So you know how they have prizes in areas based on categories? Like if you have up to 500 tickets, 1,000 tickets, well, you can organize your business in the same way and says, all right, once a year, I'm going to invite these people to my holiday party. Once a year at the retreat, I might throw a breakfast for these groups of people. But then you could start planning. You could start putting things in your calendar. You could start setting budgets. And these are all things Brian can do. Like you don't have to be involved in any of it.
Yeah. And these are what I think separate me from, or any of us, depending on what our unique qualities are as agents, because we're all very different. But what I do with my referrals, I've talked to other agents about it at Compass, and I'm like, do you send a gift to the person sending you a referral? And he's like, no, the gift for me is that I'm closing the deal for them. So they're going to get a check. And for me, I'm like, not me. I'm like, I want them to know how thankful I am. I want them to know how that I know I'm very lucky to get the referral. So I always try to send something thoughtful to the agent as well. And then obviously make sure that the gift and the client is taken well care of. So there's so many layers of this, you know?
You got to operationalize this, right? So like layer one is I get an outbound referral. What happens next, right? They connect with the client, everything else. Once the agreement signed, send a handwritten thank you card, right?
Mhm.
Just, it's always a nice touch. Then from there, the transaction's completed, like based on the agent, you're good at picking gifts. You're a great gift giver. You pick a gift, you set a budget, like, and then you start figuring out somewhat what your core gifts are, right? Like there's a certain set of things that we can all pick for most agents, right? So the more variables you can eliminate, the more you can scale, right? You can't scale custom. And like the goal is not to be the bottleneck, right? So in this, if every person, like you do dozens and dozens of deals, but if every person, you have to be involved in sorting the gift, finding the gift, being involved, like you should write the handwritten card. And then outside of that, Brian should just do the rest.
Yeah, we do like a once a week or once in every other week where we go through a spreadsheet of all of our referrals and we talk about what gift they want, if they're rosé drinkers or if they have kids, do they want cupcakes from Baked by Melissa? So we do try to make it very specific, and I never want to lose that touch. I don't ever want it to be automated. I want people to know that it's like red wine season or champagne season or delicious
You have
chocolates,
a
you know?
system, right? So like
Yeah.
that is automated, right? I have a bi-weekly meeting that I go through these things, I pick these things, and then they're done, right? Like that's it. And like, so the next part to this, and we're just focused on one segment, agents, right? The part that you probably have a good area of opportunity is the note section. Do you use notes in your CRM?
I use notes in the contacts on my phone.
Okay. So use notes, like open up the contact, right? Like if you're on Instagram, you see something cool that like I did something with my kids, for example, right? Like, oh, Chirag's son plays basketball. That's good to know, right? So you think of the note section as a place to store really good information that when you want to connect with somebody, you can go back to.
Yeah, I have to break my comfort of using the wrong tools. That's what I'm here to talk about more today. And I'm sure that I've talked to a lot of other agents that are in similar situations. You just get comfortable using it. But at the end of the day, we have this tech, you know, so I want to make sure I'm doing it.
Yeah, and look, I think the other part of it, right, is all the information you need to connect with people, to engage with people, to grow your business is in things that you either see online or in your inbox, conversations you have in person, right? Like, so like, look, there's different ways of capturing information, right? So some people will literally do voice notes, right? Like they'll meet somebody and you'll shoot Brian a voice note, which would be transcribed in his phone, copy paste the information. That's one way, right? Other people will leave voice memos for themselves and then send an email. This is one that I really like that a lot of our clients use, right? I think you would really like this. It's called the Plaude Note. You know those things that go on the back of like your phone that could hold a credit card that are like really thin? That's what this is. So this is an AI voice recording device enabled by ChatGPT 4.0. So you can literally like, even if you're on the phone and you have your phone in the ear, it could capture the whole conversation, right? So also, like the nice part is the way that some of these people use it is like you could be in your car, you could have had 3 conversations, you could literally turn this thing on, record a brain dump of here's the client, here's the information, here are the notes, here's this, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, and hit one button, and it'll give you an entire list of ways that you could summarize like what you just said, and then you could just hit a button and send it to Brian.
Yeah, that's another thing, not to get off topic, but that was something you kept pushing a lot the last year about ChatGPT. And I kind of never really like took it so seriously when you would tell me like, you have to get on this, you have to see what we're doing at Chirag Coaching. We're going to have this app and we're going to have this. And I was like, okay, whatever. I like never really got into it. Now I use it, and whoever is on this call that doesn't use it, it changed my life. It is the best to write emails, to fix my grammar, to articulate what I want to say to somebody. I write everything now in ChatGPT and then bring it back to my email.
Yeah. And like, look, another cool thing that you can do is you could say, my name's Jess Sigmund. I'm a luxury agent, blah, 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 blah. I need you to ask me blank amount of questions one by one. So you could learn my business, my style, my system, my voice, my tone, and store it all to memory. right? So then I'll take a quick little sidebar because everyone loves all the AI stuff, right? So then you go through your prompts and you actually get what you want out of it, right? Don't do this in the beginning because it doesn't ever come out the same. So you get to something that you're like, all right, I feel good with the information. It has the right context. And then now you write, say this in the voice of Jessica Sigmund, and it'll change it into your words, right? Like you can upload your emails there. There's so many different things that you can do. But again, like CRM, ChatGPT, Plaude Note, like think about this. You go on a listing presentation. How much information does the seller share?
Well, hopefully a lot, because hopefully they're talking and I'm listening.
Exactly. But here's the point. If you're listening to listen, you're listening to take notes, or you're listening to respond, you're doing more than one, you're not listening really at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with this, you can literally walk in there and say, hey, would it be okay if I use my AI-enabled voice recording device to capture every detail so nothing slips in the cracks, so I can be really present and listen to what's most important to you? Everyone's going to say yes. So you're able to capture every detail from the home tour to the conversations. And in a button, it literally summarizes it. You could send it to Brian. And before you even get back to the office, the seller could have an email with the entire recap of your meeting.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean,
And now
that's
you take you take that same recap and you put it into the plot, you put it into the note section of your CRM. So now all of that information lives everywhere. I think one of the biggest challenges that people can focus on solving is how do I have all my information in text messages, emails, notes, phone conversations? And that's what the CRM really does, right? It's like a centralized house for all of the information.
Mhm. Yeah. And if you get those things right, if I get those things right, now that I'm learning Compass One, and I will be able to bring that stuff on to the other side because they're so connected. So I have to make sure that I'm getting the first part read good so that my next part for Compass One, which is an incredible tool that Compass has now, is working the way it's supposed to be working, which is demonstrating to the clients how much work we do as an agent in real time.
Yeah, look, I think the nice part about Compass One is it integrates your client's experience into one place, right? And it truly makes them a partner, right? And I think that's the part that people don't get is it's like when a contractor works at your house, right? You don't know where they are in the process, when they're coming, when they're going, or are you coming on Saturday, right? So like I always tell agents, it's like, look, how would you feel if we were partners and anytime, any device, anywhere, you could know what's going on and what's coming next and find all of the things associated to your home buying or home selling experience, I like calling it, right?
Yeah, we do so much as agents, and we make it look so easy. And obviously that's what Compass One sort of is created to do. It's to show people without being annoying. Like today I'm going to go do this, or today I'm going to have your house cleaned, or today I'm going to have a painter there, or today I'm going to have your septic done. Like it's actually just putting it into this system that they can actually just see what you're doing all day. So they don't just think you're kind of just hanging out and making a check.
Yeah, and the other part is that look, it's hard, right? Like especially post NAR settlement to justify some of these commissions, right? But when you see all of this stuff, and every time they log in, it's a reinforcement that they've made the right decision, that these are all the things done. And one of the things I always tell people you don't think about is it's a consistent reminder that they couldn't do this without.
And it helps us not drop things through the cracks, right? So like if I have like a summer rental, I worked with a really awesome VIP client a couple weeks ago who was very into using Compass One, and it's a summer rental, so they don't move in until June. So there's a few wire transfers that have to happen, or July, they don't move into July. So there's a few wire transfers that have to happen. So I was able to remind us when the next wires go out. I was able to upload, we needed to get a Tesla charger installed because they have a Tesla and this house didn't have it. I was able to upload the invoice of the charger into this so that they could see what they paid for, and this is all organized for us. It's just so nice to have. So I know how powerful the other side will be once I start using it because I can just see it with Compass One now.
So Compass One, right? Integration of technology. And we have a few more minutes before we wrap up. Do you feel you have like a clear direction with your CRM where you could take that same method for buyers, sellers?
Yeah, I'm going to start with that, definitely connecting with Brian. And then I want to buy that little device thing that you have because I'm sold on the AI stuff. It's just amazing how much time I've gotten back writing property descriptions. Like that thing is amazing.
So here are a couple of things that you want to think about, like for sellers, right? If you think about a seller, right, it's location, right? It could be Westport, right? You could think about a subsection like Greens Farms. You're going on a listing appointment, so you could write listing appointment. If the person didn't list, you could write not listed, and you could put the price point, right? Then if you go on the appointment and now you have the whole conversation and everything done, like this is why CRM and data are so powerful, right? You have their price point, their information, and now you have the whole meeting recapped, right? So now you have a buyer that you can't find a house for, right? And you can literally type his criteria in to see if you had any clients that never sold. So normally the conversation's like, hey, Jess, haven't talked to you in a while. Are you still thinking of selling, right? But now you have all the notes. I can call you up like, hey, Jess, I know you wanted to move to Florida, be closer to your grandkids. Is that a goal that you still want to reach? And they're going to say, yeah. And then you get into the thing, right? Because you have more context, right?
Yeah.
So this is the way that you use them. And like buyers, right? Like, is it a first-time buyer, a move-up buyer, an empty nester? Then there is also like the neighborhood they live in, like personal interest. Kids under 10 is like a big one because you could send them different types of emails. So if you start thinking about this, this stuff starts driving the content you create using bulk email, more personalized messages. And it's just spending like 5 more minutes up front. I would say organizing your CRM is like staging and decluttering a house, right? It's the time that you put in, you get a better result, a better price, and an easier sale.
Yeah. And another thing I just thought of yesterday, we were on a listing pitch. It was like a, I don't know, beautiful waterfront, very expensive home, and they only want to sell it off market. So there was another house that had been represented that was waterfront, similar price point. And if you didn't track that data from that house, you could be, what you could do is all the people that came to tour that house, if you were organized and if you had them in your database, you could pull from there and be like, I know you didn't end up buying this house, but now we have another one coming on. So that's the power of being able to have that organized, waterfront, instead of you're asking buyer, seller, you could have buyer waterfront, something like that, where it makes it so seamless for me to just jump on and be like, now I have another property that's coming on for $10 million or whatever the price is, and I can go to my waterfront, right? And that's where I need to make this so important.
Exactly. So let's talk about just some simple steps to get started, right? All of it and everything equal I'm overwhelmed, right? It leads to the 3 C's. This is confusing. Like, where do I get started? What do I do? Then you feel confused, right? Which is overwhelming. And then you go back to certainty. I'm just gonna keep my spreadsheet. So if you think about it, you haven't done this yet. So doing it all in a day is just crazy, right? Like you'd never like try to move in a day. You try to do it over a few weeks. So start with something like a goal of like 5 a day, right? 5 a day is 25 a week, 100 a month, right? And then the following month, if you're like, all right, this is good, like, and this is working, like, let me double it. Then you're at 200, right? So just start with a number, and the goal is activity over outcome, right? Like, just get into the activity of doing it, right? Like, even if you don't want to commit to 5, like, say, I'm going to spend 30 minutes a day doing this. And then at the end, you'll see positive results, which will make you want to spend more time. And you'll also start to figure out how much time it actually takes to do 5 contacts.
Yeah, or another thing that I think would be valuable. I like that chain of action. I also think another thing is just dedicate 15 minutes a day to just having it be like, I remember when I started like ninja training years ago, they would say like work on your business, work in your business. So if you keep like 15 minutes, for me, my plan is to do is spend like at least 15 minutes a day, or make a point to have 15 minutes a day where I start doing this and getting going. And that could be the 5 or however many contacts I could do in 15 minutes, right?
Exactly. It's like measure what matters and you grow, right? But the goal is just to get started, right? So,
Yeah.
doing something for 15 minutes is better than having this plan to do everything, because it's like one more thing than you did yesterday. So this ends up our 30 minutes. I want to keep it tight on time. So all of you will get a summary recap notes, right? For our clients that are on here, it'll be similar to kind of what you all see. And you'll get the recording. So this way you can go back and actually use the information. Jess, any parting words?
No, if anybody needs an accountability person, message me on Instagram or social, and we can keep each other accountable if somebody else is struggling and wants to do the same thing. So feel free to connect with me.
Yeah, thank you.
By the way, that's the most productive way of doing it, right? Like just hop on a Zoom and hi, how are you? Don't waste a lot of time exchanging pleasantries because it's a work session, and just sit there and do it, right? Like you have to keep your camera on, you have to work. Like it works extremely well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thanks for everyone who came too.
Yep. Mike, you have a quick question?
Yes, thank you. Which Plaude do you recommend? Is there a model number?
No, just go on Plaude. They have, at this point, they have a bracelet. They have one you could wear on a chain, one that goes on your phone. Just pick whichever one works best for you.
And it's okay to get it on Amazon, right? I don't have to go to the Plaude.
I would go on
Don't
Plaude
do
to
it
figure
today.
out-
Don't spend any money on Amazon today.
Why? Okay, just do it today. Go to Plaude. I'll get it
Don't
there.
Go
do
to
it
Plaude and do all the research on the models, and then go to Amazon because you get it in 2-day shipping. Jess, put your
I am
Instagram.
putting it in right now.
I have a question. If I'm not one of your students, I'm just here from Compass in Studio City, California. Will I get a recording to this?
Yeah, look, this is a free series that we're doing,
Oh,
right?
wonderful.
Like the
Okay.
goal is to show people like what coaching is, what we do with our clients, and for you guys to get value in the process. So everyone that's here and everyone that's on our email list will get the recap notes, the email, the recordings, so they can go back to it. Listen, our goal is simple. Like you'll learn at least one new thing that you could use in your business and make money. And Jess, I think we accomplished that today.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm motivated.
You're always motivated. So on that
I'm
note,
motivated
my heart,
to fix my problems.
love my heart. I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in for our first episode. And we'll see you all here next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Bye. Have a good day.